Hello, good morning. I'm discussing about data collection tools. The term data collection tools refers to the tools device used to gather data, such as the paper questionnaire as a system of computer-assisted interviews. Tools used to gather data include case studies, checklists, interviews, occasionally observation, surveys, and questionnaires. Questionnaire is a list of questions or items used to gather data from respondents about their attitude, experience, or opinions. Questionnaires can be used to collect the quantitative and qualitative information. Questionnaires are commonly used in market research as well as in the social and health science. A research instrument consisting of series of questions, a kind of written interviews, related with cheap, quick, and efficient way of obtaining large amounts of information from a large samples of people. Respondents may lie due to the social desirability. Types of questionnaire: structured, unstructured, open-ended, closed-ended. Closed-ended or open closed-ended also known as the structured questionnaires. Open question also known as unstructured question. There might be semi-structured question as well. Interview guidelines. An interview guide is a document that enables organizations to structure that the way conduct their candidates interviews. It helps interviews to know what to ask about and in what order, and it ensures a candidate experience that is the same for all applicants. And interview guidelines are simply a list of the high-level topics that you plan or covering in the interview with the high-level questions that you want to answer under each topics. We can probe the questions. Some questions emerge during the interview. Observation checklist is a list of things that an observer is going to look at when observing a class. This list may have been prepared by the observer or teacher or both. An observation guide is a research project is that tool that helps researchers collect data through direct observation of people in natural or simulated settings. It provides us structured framework for recording and documenting behaviors, actions, and interaction of the subject being observed. Is a list of things that an observer is going to look at when observing an event action program. Survey. Survey is a method of gathering information using relevant questions from a sample and people with the aim that understanding the population as well. Surveys provide a critical source of data and insight for everyone engaged in the information economy, from business and media and government academics. Mobile tablet survey. A mobile survey is a targeted group of the individual answer survey questions using a mobile device, whether that is the mobile phone or tablets, as long as the survey optimized to display an mobile device authorized known as the mobile first. Web service or internet service are defined as the data collection method where surveys or questionnaires are sent over the internet to a sample of respondents and they can respond in this survey over this worldwide web. Email surveys are defined as the data collection method used to collect the quantitative data using surveys or questionnaires that are sent to the targeted respondents by mail. Interview or meeting usually face to face, especially for the purpose of the talking or consulting. An interview to evaluate the prospective students' qualification, meeting at which the information obtained as the reporter from a person. In-depth interview is a qualitative research technique that involves conducting intense individual interviews with a small number of the respondents to explore their perspective on a particular idea, program, or situation. Key format interviews are qualitative in-depth interviews with people who know What is going on in the community? The purpose of key informant interviews is to collect information from a wide range of people, including community leaders, professionals, or residents who have the first-hand knowledge about the community. Focus group discussion, yeah, GD. A focus group discussion is a qualitative resource method and data collection technique in which a selected group of people discusses a given topic or issues in depth, facilitated by a professional external moderator, usually a 12 participants. Observation is the action or process carefully watching someone and something. It means that notice what is going on to your sense, but more specifically, we can define the observation as a case of knowing and recording something. This has to do with both the act of knowing what's going on and then recording the what's happened. Generic observation, the principle, generic views is the study of the cognition stipulates that the interpretation made by an observer or the digital phenomenon should be such as to not require that the observer be in a spatial position to a relationship with the phenomenon is in question. Observation is an act of the instance observing a custom or rule or law, an act or the power of seeing or fixing the mind upon something, an act of gathering information in scientific studies by noting facts and occurrence. Participant observation is the research method where the researcher immerses themselves in a particular social setting or group, observing the behaviors, interactions, and practices of the participants. Gatekeeper's approach of effective data collection. A gatekeeper is any person or institution that acts as an intermediary between the researcher and potential participant. A gatekeeper may also have the power to grant or deny the permission for access to potential resource participants. A gatekeeper could be a person who is willing to help with the recruitment of research participants where the researcher has no direct access to potential participants. They might be willing, for example, to pass on the recruitment material within their organization. A person or thing controls access and to information, often acting as an arbiter or quality of legitimacy, and open internet allows innovators to bypass traditional gatekeepers and promote their work on its own merit. Data processing, preparation, cleaning in the process, and detecting and correcting or removing corrupt or inaccurate records from data sets or in refers to the identify the incorrect, incomplete, irrelevant parts of the data and then modifying, replacing, or deleting the dirty or coarse data. Data processing occurs when data is collected and translated into usable information. Data processing starts with data is raw from and converts it into a more reliable formats, graphs, documents, etc., giving it the form and the context necessary to be interpreted by computers and utilized by employees throughout an organization. The stage of data processing, it is usually performed in a step-by-step process by a team of data scientists and data engineer is organized in an organization. The raw data is collected, filtered, sorted, processed, analyzed, stored, and then presented in the readable format. Data collection from the data text and data warehouse and data collection is the process of gathering and measuring the information variable of internet interest and an established systematic fashion that enables one to answer stated resource question, test hypothesis, and evaluate outcomes. Data preparation is the process of cleaning and transferring raw data prior to processing analysis. It is an important step prior to processing and often involves reformatting data, making corrections to data, and combining the data sets to enrich data. Pre-processing raw data is cleaned up and organized, check of any errors, redundant, incomplete, and incorrect data. Data input, any information data is provided to computer or software program is not input, since that information provided is also considered to be the data in process providing information to in the computer, also known as data input. The clean data is entered into its destination and translated into the language it can understood. Processing, data processing involves transforming raw data into useful information. Stages of data processing include collection, filtering, sorting, and analysis. Data processing relies on various tools and techniques to ensure accurate valuable outputs. Data input to the computer in the previous stage is actually processed for interpretation. Data output or interpretation stage is the stage in which the data is finally usable to non-data scientists. It is translated, readable, and often that is the graphs, videos, image, plain text, etc. It is translated, readable, and often that form the graphs, videos, image, plain text, etc. Data storage refers to the method or systems used to securely and efficiently store the data collected during a study, survey, and other data collection process. This involves the ensuring data that is stored in a manner that preserves integrity and confidentiality and accessibility for the future analysis. Data storage is the retention of the information using the technology specially developed to keep the data and have it accessible as necessary. Data storage refers to the use of recording media to retain data using the computers or other devices. It is then stored for future use. When the data is properly stored, it can be quickly and easily accessed by the members of the organization when needed. Data analysis and interpretation are critical steps in the resource process. Especially after data collection, they involve the examining the collected data to draw meaningful conclusions and insights that can inform decision strategies and further research. Data analysis is defined as a process of cleaning, transforming, and modeling data to discover useful information for decision making. The purpose of data analysis is to extract useful information from the data and taking the decision based upon the data analysis. Data cleaning, this involves removing or correcting errors, inconsistencies, and outliers in the data, ensure accuracy and reliability. Data transformation and converting the raw data into a more usable formats. This may involve the normalizing, the aggregating, or categorizing data. Descriptive analysis and summarizing the basic features of the data, often using the measures such as the mean, median, mode, and standard deviation through the visual tools like the charts and graphs. Inferential data, marketing prediction, and inference about the population based in sample data. This also involves statistical testing, t-test, chi-square test to determine the significance of findings. Exploratory analysis, identifying the patterns, trends, or relationship with the data were not initially evident. Modeling, applying the mathematical or statistical models to predict the future outcomes or understood relationship between the variables. Data interpretation refers to the implementation of the process through which data is reviewed for the purpose of arriving at the informed conclusion. The interpretation of data is assigned meaning to the information analyzed and determines the significance and the implication. Data interpretation is the process of making sense of the results obtained from the data analysis. It involves the explaining the what the findings means and context the research questions or hypotheses and drawing the conclusion that can be further action research. Contextual understanding, placing the results within the context and research objectives, hypotheses, understanding how results are aligned with or contradict existing theories and expectations. Significance, determining the practical significance or the findings includes assessing the implication of the results, specific fields of in practice. Comparative analysis, comparing the results with the previous studies or benchmarks to see how they align or differ. Implication and recommendation based on the interpreted data offering suggestion for future research, policy change, or practical application. Limitation, acknowledging any limitation in the data or analysis that might affect the reliability or the generalizability of the findings. Reporting, presenting the findings in a clear and coherent manner, often through written reports, presentations, or visualization, ensuring that the conclusions drawn are supported by the data. Quantitative data analysis, making graphs and tables. Quantitative data analysis involves the systematic examination or numerical data to uncover patterns, trends, or the relationship. A key part of this analysis is the creation of graphs and tables, which helps to visualize and summarize the data for easier interpretation and communication. Quantitative data information about quantities, that is the information that can be measured and written down with the numbers and some other aspects and to consider about quantitative data. Focus on numbers can be displayed through graphs, charts, tables, and maps. Data can be displayed over time, such as line chart. Data preparation, organized data before the creating the graphs and tables and ensure that your data is clean, accurate, and organized. This includes the removing any outliers or errors and arranging the data logically. Select variables determines which variables or data point you want to present in your graphs or tables. Decide whether you are comparing groups showing the trends over time or displaying the distribution. Creating tables are useful presenting raw data, descriptive statistic or cross-tabulation, structure arranging and columns with each row representing case, survey, respondents, and each column presenting variables as income. Headers include the clear and concise headers for each column and row. This helps readers understand what one represents. Descriptive statistic tables often summarize data with descriptive statistics like mean, median, standard deviation, or percentage. Formatting ensure your tables is neatly formatted with consistent alignment and spacing, highlight important figures necessary. This is like, for example, and creating graphs. Graphs are excellent visualizing data trends, distribution between. Choose the right graphs. Bar charts useful comparing different categories or groups. Line graphs ideal are showing trends over time. Pie chart good showing the proportion of the whole. Histogram use display the distribution of the single variable. Scatter plots create showing the relationship, correlation between the variables. So we have to clear about what types of your data. For the bar chart, comparing the different categories, line graphs, ideal for showing trends of time. Pie charts for ratio, histogram, display distribution of single variable. Scatter plots correlationship. Label access, clearly label access, independent variables, y-axis, independent variables. Title give your graph, descriptive title of that, summarize what the graph is showing. Legend, if your graph is include multiple data sets or graphs include the legend to differentiate the color. Design, use color and design effectively to make your graph clear and easy to read, but avoid the cluttering with too many. Example of bar graph comparing the average income of different groups of might have the age groups on the x-axis and the mean income in the y-axis with different color is corresponding in each group. Bar graphs or bar diagram indicate the numerical values and variables represented by the height, legend lines, and rectangle equal wise. This is the bar graph I have already discussed. We should the bar charts useful for comparing the different categories or groups. This is the histogram, the consisting the proportion area of the frequency of the variable whose weight is equal to the class interval. A diagram consists of rectangles. Area is proportion frequency of the whose equal. We use the histograms in case of use display distribution of single. This is the histogram. Histogram. Pie chart dies circle divided sectors between proportion of the whole. Yes, I have already discussed. The pie chart is the showing the proportion of the whole. And this is the pie chart. And scatter plot values the variable plot along axis, the resulting relieving the correlation present. Yes, I have already discussed here. The scatter plot is showing the relationship between the two variables. This is scatter plots and positive and negative and weak and strong. This is the table. Analyze the format trends in graphs and tables and the noticeable increase and decrease correlation. Compare the groups is the visualization to compare different groups and categories, identify the significant difference or similarities. Summarizing the findings, use the insight from your graphs and tables, summarize the key findings of your analysis. This summarizes with your critical way interpreting the data and drawing the conclusions. Software tools for creating the graphs and tools. Excel widely used for creating basic graphs and tables. Uh, Good Google Sheets, another accessible tools for basic data visualization, especially is popular for advanced statistical analysis and creating detailed graphs. R in Python's wide powerful tools for customs and complex data visualization. Uh, Tableau professional tools for interactive data visualization. So we have to use some softwares. Access widely used for creating the basic graphs and tables. Google Sheets, basic data visualization, SPSS, creating detailed graphs are in Python's complex data visualization. The value is the interactive data visualization. Okay, I have discussed about data collection tools. Thanks for watching. Thank you for the patient that is now. Bye bye.